You're listening to Mortgage Lending Mastery. Get the knowledge you need to advance your mortgage practice quickly and efficiently from Jen Du Plessis, America's mortgage mastery mentor with over 37 years of experience and over $1 billion in lifetime fundings. Jen has been mentoring loan officers and realtors for over 15 years and speaking on stages across the globe. So settle in and get ready as Jen and her guests share their experience, passion, and strategies to help you crack the top producer code to reach new heights in your business. And now, here's your host, Jen Du Plessis, mortgage mastery mentor and head chick in charge of Kinetic Spark Consulting.
Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Mortgage Lending Mastery. I'm your host, Lady Jen Du Plessis. And with me today is Alex Varela. And you're going to look here if you're watching and see that it says Alexander. And I said to him when we talked a long time ago, is it Alexander? Is it Alex? So I'm going to go with Alex today. So
Perfect.
welcome, Alex, to the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm delighted to have you on the show. You know, as you and I were talking in the green room, we have people that are really successful in the business, people that are just starting in the business, you know, and everything around that to make sure that mortgage, you know, you become a mortgage lending master. So let's talk a little bit about, now you're a top ranking loan officer. You're in the top 200. You've been in the top 200 at least once. I don't know how many times, but with a strong commitment to client success, right? And I think that that's something that we want to hone in on today. A lot of loan officers talk about their success, and you like to focus in on the client success because doing that leads to your success, right?
Right. Exactly.
So let's go back and talk about how you got in the mortgage business, because none of us went to school to be a mortgage loan officer.
Yes, it's actually a cute story. So I was putting myself through college and waiting tables actually at a restaurant. And at the time, a friend of mine, Megan, she understood the value of networking way before I did. She grew up differently than I did, different household demographic. And she said, you should meet this guy, Andy. And I was like, why would I want to meet a 30-year-old man? I'm a 17-year-old boy, right? Like, this is
Right.
like
Ooh.
strange to me.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, you'll really like him. I think you have a lot in common. Like, I think you need to meet him. And so I put it off for quite some time. She was his nanny at the time, and she worked with me at the restaurant. Well, one day, just, chance met opportunity, right? And Andy walks in, Megan's not available or she's not there. So he asked to sit in my section in the restaurant. And that started a relationship. I just simply did my job and waited on him like I would normally do. And over months, of waiting on this person, one day he comes in with a Porsche 911 Turbo, which back at that time, it was a $130,000 vehicle. I think they're probably like 270 now or something. Um, and the car was more expensive than my mom's brand new house. My mom purchased a home for $125,000. And literally a month later, he comes in with a vehicle that's worth more than my mom's home. So, like always, I go up, I take the order. And this story happened before the Wolf of Wall Street movie came out. So,
Okay.
I was the original.
Yeah.
So I walk up, I take his order, and then I walk away. And it's like something happened to me. I just stopped in my tracks and I just like, man, you got to speak up. You must say something, like this is your opportunity. And it was like the movies where the record scratches and the glass breaks and everybody's quiet and everybody's looking at me. And that's how it felt.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I turn around, I look him straight in his eyes and I say, hey, Mr. Butler, I don't know what you do for a living. At this point in my life, I don't care if it's legal or illegal. I want to do it too.
Right.
Uh, I'll be your beep if you give me a job.
Right.
And I promise you I won't let you down. And 6 weeks later, he calls me. And
Yeah.
there it is. And I haven't
Yeah.
turned back since then.
It's funny. We all kind of dropped into, the business, just some kind of weird way. And, I love that. Although we have to be real clear about this, not everybody has or wants a Porsche, right? It's at
Right.
130,000, right? And not everybody is successful enough to get there, but that's what mortgage lending mastery is all about, is how do we get, to the dreams that we have, in their case. In fact, I remember when I was younger, for me, success, because I've been in the business, 40 years, when for me, it was having a Mont Blanc pen, right? Because they were $200 and everybody's like,
Yeah.
ooh, those are so expensive, for a pen. And now they're $600.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wait to get that Mont Blanc pen. I mean, I saved up for it. It was like, I gotta have the Mont Blanc pen. And I remember just unscrewing it in front of my client really slowly and making sure Mont Blanc was showing as I was signing documents with them.
That's so
And
funny.
but and then I'll just tell you the story quickly. And then later, I couldn't get, maybe the threads were kind of funny, but I pulled it apart and it spewed ink all over
Oh,
me. And I was like, this is not success. This is not what I wanted. This isn't my definition. So, I want to be clear, everybody has that, that
yeah.
definition. But it is, as a 17-year-old or an 18-year-old young guy, my husband's a car fanatic, you go, yeah, that's what I want, man. That's what I want. So you got in there. And so let's talk about, it's funny because I'm sort of seeing a word behind you, but I don't see the whole word. But let's talk about, because I have a program called Beyond the Hustle, because
Yeah.
I was tired of the hustle and I said, "Ooh, enough. I want to, do something else." But hustle is important in our industry. But how do you balance, and I'm not a balance believer, but how do you balance for yourself? And you've got a baby, right? How do you balance between the hustle and self-care in our industry, and especially now as we're recording this at a time when transactions are hard to find, right? It's more difficult to find them
Yeah.
due to high rates and to less inventory. That doesn't mean you're not finding them. It just means, how do you balance that hustle? Give us
Yeah.
some tips and secrets on that.
So I'm 41, and I would say, like, even as a young person, even like, putting myself through college during that time, the importance of like just a very disciplined life and a disciplined schedule. And I think that like people hear the word discipline, and
You.
sometimes they, right, yeah, it's like very
It's
rigid.
like being in prison, right?
Yeah.
Behind prison doors. Yeah.
So, probably I've always been a regimented person. I've never been in the military, but I've just always lived like this. I wake up early and I get things done. But I would say that if you really look at your day or week, and you start with what is important to you, right? So, eating dinner with my family is very important to me. Church on Sunday is very important to me. Exercise is very important to me. Practicing golf is very important to me. So I start my calendar with all the things that are very important to me, and I allocate time. This is a Monday through Sunday calendar, starting with 30-minute increments at 6 a.m. And when you look at that and you're like, I have all the things that I love to do on this calendar, and then you look at the enormous amount of time left over, you realize it's not that I don't have enough time. I'm just not allocating my time properly, or I'm not, using my time wisely. And it was a really eye-opening experience for me. So I broke the day down between, 6 a.m. to noon to 6, and 6 to midnight. And I planned out my entire day, my entire life, my commute to work, my, how much time it takes me to get ready for, to get dressed, everything.
Yeah.
And so I just prioritize that, being healthy, eating well, exercising, quiet time is important, because this is an extremely stressful job, comes first. And, before I used to chase the deal first. I did that probably
A lot
between,
of people do. Yeah.
right, 20s and 30s. I chased the deal first, but now I make sure that I'm sane enough and healthy enough to withstand the stress for today, because today is going to be stressful. There's going to be a lot of activity going on. And if I'm not well rested, if I'm not fed properly,
Right.
and if I, am not, mentally sane, like when a client says something curt or abrupt, I'm going to explode, you know, like I'm
Yes,
going to
right.
lash out.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it's smart to look at your calendar, put your things that you love doing first, put yourself first, and then fill the rest in with your work.
Yeah, I love that. Really, what you're talking about is boundaries, right? You've set boundaries around yourself that say, for one, you took the time to sit down and figure out what you really loved, the big rocks, right? The big boulders in your life, so that the sand can just kind of fill itself in. And
That's
not
right.
everyone, is all about the sand,
Yeah.
and that is the hustle, right? It's like hustle, hustle, hustle. It's just sand, sand, sand. And there's never time for anything else as a result of it. But I love that you put boundaries around it. And I love that you said that. Because I've talked to people and said, so what are your core values? And people will respond with, and pulling stuff out of their mind, right? Like if you're not watching this, I'm kind of rolling my eyes around and going, family, as if it's a question, not a conviction.
Yes. Yeah.
And that conviction is what sets the boundaries so that you say, look, there's family time. And I imagine you do this, but I want to hear what you say about this as well. So many people have said, well, I don't want my clients or my realtor partners or any other partners to know that I'm going to the spa or going to the gym or babysitting my child during the middle of the day because my spouse needs a break. What do you say to that kind of fear about having that private time?
Yeah, I think, you know, fear in general, right, is like I forget what the statistic is, but like the majority of the things that we even fear or think about will never, ever, ever come true,
Yeah.
right? So I fear that I'll lose a realtor if they know exactly what I'm doing. Or yeah, I think it's, you know, it is scary, but you have to step out in faith and you have to set boundaries. Most realtors, most partners I deal with are the same way. They set their own
Yes.
boundaries, they respect it, they understand that you're a professional,
Mhm.
and that, you know, you have a life. And so, you know, I would say that like I wish I would have learned that lesson a long time ago. Um, but,
Yeah.
you know, everybody I work with, you know, like I tell my clients this as well, is that 6 to 8:30 is for my family.
Yeah.
It is reserved
It's
for
bedtime.
family.
It's dinner and bedtime. And yeah. Yeah.
If you want to get on a Zoom call at 8:30 at night, I am happy to do it, you know, but I just will not work between 6 and 8:30 because it's a crucial time for me. So um, if
I
you
love
do
that.
lose a partner over this, like a business partner, I think that's okay. There are so many people to do business with out there that you just need to find, you know, like I guess people say find your tribe.
Yeah.
You know, you need to find the people that will respect that boundary and that like that. And you know, we'll continue to do business with you. But they're
Yeah.
out there. You can
Oh, they
absolutely.
totally are. And I think that even when you say, no, like I'll give you an example. I was in, church, you mentioned about church. I go to mass every week and I was
Mhm.
in church and I came out and I turned my phone on and someone had said, hey, I need you to talk to a client. And I called her back and she goes, well, you didn't call me back fast enough. So I just sent it someplace else. We've all heard that, right? We've all
Yeah.
heard that. And
Ouch.
yeah, yeah. And it's like, well, I'm really sorry, but I was in mass and I was in church and they're like, yeah, well, I'm sorry because, I gave it away. And I decided right then and there that that wasn't a person I wanted to work with, and I believe that you should work with people that complement and not complicate. And ironically, that day, once a month, my husband and I would go do open houses because otherwise I didn't do them. I didn't need to, but I said, oh, once a week or once a month, we'll do open houses after mass on Sunday. And
Mhm.
I went and met the realtor that was of my tribe, one of my 6 realtors that I worked with in my career. And so I just know that that's okay. We hang on so tight, that white knuckle effect that we have, that tension, even when you're hanging on, is just so stressful. Just, let it go to grow. Let it
Yeah.
go to grow. So, okay. So thank you for sharing your story and for sharing us some perspective on that. As this is near and dear to my heart. But I know that one of the things that you're really proud of is a sales process that you have for a new client. So tell us a little bit about that sales process and what makes it unique and different. You don't have to give us the whole process, but maybe some pieces that someone should be considering that makes them different, or they become a disruptor in that process so that they're not one of many commodity.
Absolutely. Well, my hope is everybody just copies it. I hope everybody uses it verbatim.
Yeah.
I would love that. I would be honored if they did. So, over 20 years of doing loans, people say like, well, what's the secret sauce? Like, what is it that you do that's different?
Yeah.
And I really boiled it down to when it comes to like lead conversion is your very first phone call seals the deal. Like that's actually where it happens. You can lose it along the way, don't get me wrong, but it's that very first phone call that really makes all the difference. And so I call that called the discovery call. And I tell clients that it's called the discovery call. And I tell realtors it's called the discovery call. And in the discovery call, you're simply trying to figure out if you like me enough to do business with me. Simple. Am I competent enough? Do I sound like a professional? Do I make you feel comfortable and safe in doing this transaction? And this is how I speak to the client. It's like, this is why you're talking to me. Like, you can ask all the questions that you want, and I'm going to answer them. You don't have to do an application right now. I'm simply here to just give you all the information or talk about the things that you're scared of. What do you fear about this transaction? Because I was taught that really your job as a salesperson is to manage people's fear. And when I heard that, I was like, is that right? Is that accurate? And for months after I learned that, I realized that that's absolutely true. Everybody is just frightened. They're scared to death. Did it appraise? Is it going to go okay? Are they going to accept my offer? It's all fear. So discovery call is the most important, even starting with your tone. Like, how do you sound when you answer the phone? If I call somebody and they're not pleasant immediately, I'm out. I will 100% discard you. So you have to sound pleasant, smile and have some inflection in your voice when you get them on the phone. And sometimes people are like, it's not a great day. And I don't just pass that up. I dig deeper into that. And I'm like, oh no, like, well, tell me what happened, and I talk to them like I would a friend. So the discovery call is the most important. It's a very basic call. You're going to ask, like, what are you concerned about this transaction? Let's talk about that. I just want to answer all your questions for you. And then I shut my mouth, right? We have 2 ears, 1 mouth for a reason. Okay. So the majority of the call is listening. After discovery, they're going to apply. Okay. So the second step is application. What's your preference? Would you like to do that over the phone? Would you like to do it online? Would you like to come into my office and apply? It's up to you. It's completely up to you. Now, most people accept online application. But if they don't, we take the application over the phone. That's fine. If they want to make an appointment to come on in, we let them come on in. After application is pre-approval or plan.
Mm-hmm.
So pre-approval is you're ready to go. Plan is we got to work on some things. Okay. I don't tell people they're denied. I don't tell people they're rejected. I don't tell people I can't do the loan. I said, here's the plan for us to get you loan ready, to get you ready for the financing process. And then the fourth, which is the most important, is in fact a 1-hour consultation. You could do this by Zoom. You could do this in person. I share my screen. I share my pricing. I show them Optimal Blue. I tell them how much money I'm making on their deal. I tell them why. I show them other rates from competitors that may be lower or higher than mine. We discuss why that's the case. We go over everything about their payment, the fees, and then I follow up with, I have the estimate with everything written out, essentially.
Yeah.
So like every fee, it's all described and it has a definition. And that's really what's been really winning in this market for us is really going through the sales process with people and differentiating ourselves from a Bank of America, a Chase, a Rocket Mortgage, a UWM, whoever it is, right?
Yeah.
That's just, here's my rate, you should do it. It's like, well,
Yeah.
that is a nice rate and that's good, but there are a
Right.
consumer for them, that don't want that.
Yeah, and and not every, and I mean, for years and years and years, I said, it's not about the rate, it's not about the rate. And gosh, I remember when the option loan, I sold Neg Am with
Yeah.
Dave Stevens for 12 years. That's all we had was a negative amortizing loan for
Yeah.
12 years. And we called it a negative loan, a NAGAM, right? A negative amortizing loan. And then later it came out as, oh, it's the option loan, because that was for me and for those of us that were selling this product, I think I did one fixed rate loan in like 12 years. And for people that, when that loan came out, everyone said, well, we said, that's silly. They're calling it an option loan because they don't know how to sell NAGAM, because it was about the rate, right?
Yeah.
Well, I want the best rate possible. Great. Let me give you 1.25 on this option loan. And don't ask me the rest of the questions. You want the best rate, here's the best rate. But it killed, clients and left the house standing because people didn't know how to structure it properly, right? So I think that that's, super important. This process that you follow is very much like the process I used. I think the one thing that we want to hone in on here for people, and I'd like your perspective on this. And I do know this from my research, from my thousands of podcasts that I've done now, and interviewing top producing loan officers, and myself being, $100 million producer every year, is we had a 1 hour consultation with our clients. People that don't have those, and look, there's exceptions. There's people that are like, yeah, I bought the house 1,000 times. I know how to do it. I don't really want the 1 hour thing. Okay, fine. But people that aren't as highly successful, I've found, want to rush through the process. I call it, they speed up, so they have to slow down later and constantly it's like a back stitch, right? We're moving forward and we have to back stitch and go, oh yeah, and resell our rate and resell ourselves and resell the process. It's a back stitch. So I always say, slow down. People speed up to slow down. And then I say, slow down so you can speed up. So talk to me about how you made that transition, or why you made that transition. Because I imagine when you first started, it was next, next, next. How can I get them in? How can I get them in? For any market, that's your process. I heard you say in this market, it's really helpful, but I know that's your process in every market.
Yeah. Well, and, like for me, I realized I was running like a McDonald's, right? And so it's very consistent. You know what you're going to get. It's good pretty much every time you go. But it was quick, it was fast, and, to build a relationship with, 500 and something clients a year, it's like difficult. Like it's almost impossible to do that. So I realized that if I would dig deeper, build better relationships, I wouldn't have to work as hard. I was running a McDonald's, like it was consistent, it was fast, you knew what you're going to get every time, but to keep up with 500 and something clients per year and build good long-lasting relationships, I wasn't doing that. And so it was an aha moment for me that I'm just working way too hard at this, so I did exactly what you said. I slowed down to speed up. And so when I started to take more time and develop better relationships, and do all the things that we're all taught to do, children's birthdays, their names, anniversaries,
Puppies, yeah.
Yeah, like their favorite things they do, the all about you form, like if we dig deeper and we take notes, and instead of having a conversation about like their mortgage, when I get on the phone with people, I ask them about their children by name, or like I'm asking like, hey, you mentioned last time that you were going to see this play or do this thing, like how did that go? Because I'm a avid note taker now. So it was just like that aha moment where I was like, I am, if I thought about myself, I'm a 5-star, dining experience, like I'm a Michelin star restaurant. Why am I treating it like a McDonald's? And so I made that change, and developed better relationships. And what I saw come of it was my loan size got bigger. I started to deal with a different clientele. I started to be referred way more by my clients. And realtors, the top realtors in my market, start to recognize it, and they want that service for their clients, and they started to align themselves with me and allow me to work with them. So it was a huge aha moment for me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think those that have done that, they've all had some kind of aha moment that, it was a pinnacle part, maybe where the hustle got too much of a hustle, and there was a breakdown, a burnout, they became
Yeah.
broke. Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's all the things that happen there. I love all that. Okay, so you have what you call a formula for success. Share this, and by the way, people are always looking for what's that one thing, the magic bullet, that this, that, and the other. And there is no
Yeah.
magic bullet, but you have a formula that works for you. And maybe someone who's listening, the formula, they go, oh, that's exactly what I was looking for. Or
Yeah.
there's a manager, a leader who's saying, that's exactly what one of my team members needs. So share with us your thoughts on what this means to you.
Yeah. So I'm a bit of a smarty pants sometimes. I can be, a little smart. So the formula of success, I was given a big presentation, State of the Union to all my staff, and it was like my regional call or whatever. And I go, oh yeah, ready for the formula of success. And so it's doing all the right activities every single day for a long period of time is the
Yeah.
formula for success. And so they're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, that's not what I was thinking that you're gonna say,
Right,
but
right, right, right.
but I believe it. It truly is the formula of success. If you do it sometimes, if you come in and you prospect, or you call realtors sometimes, or if you sometimes perform well, if you sometimes pick up your phone, like it doesn't work. Like it's all the right activities, like all the time, and it's not
Yeah.
just some days. It's every single day that you're here at work. You must do these things. And I wouldn't say like, my mom hates it when I say this, but I would say like, I'm probably not the most talented person. Like, I'm probably not the smartest. I'm not the tallest. I'm not the fastest, right? All that to say, it's to encourage people that like you can get extraordinary results by being disciplined, by following a process, and by doing it every single day. And it wasn't like I started off as the best person to talk on the phone with a client. It is a skill that I learned. It's not something I was born with. It wasn't like a natural talent. I didn't one day just, oh, I can speak to a big crowd of people and do well. Like no way. Like my first couple of times to speak in front of people was a disaster. It's a nightmare. I've had so many stories of meeting with realtors that were horrible, having dinners with clients that were just terrible. But over
Yeah.
time, I sharpened those skills and I developed and honed in on them. And I'm better than I was 20 years ago. Well, let's just say that.
And
So
getting better every day. And I think that's, really an important thing. I call that random acts of marketing, random acts, right? It's random
yeah,
acts. And in those random acts are, don't provide the consistency. That's exactly what you're saying. And so, it's called work. It's called persistence. It's called resilience. It's called digging in. There's all
mhm,
kinds of words that are for it, but I think that if you want to earn and make the almighty dollar, then you have to work hard to make the mighty dollar. That's all there is to it.
yeah,
And I've got a million other quotes for it and everything, but it truly is that. And I think it's in anything you do. It's in your relationships with your partners. It's in your relationships with your family members, the relationship you have with your child, right? What you were saying, is that between 6 and 8:30, that's when, your kids, I don't know if you have more, but your kids are,
I do.
having dinner, you're reading books, you're slowing things down,
Yeah,
you're putting them to bed, they're getting their bath, yada, yada, and they go to bed at 8:30, and you and your wife can finally go, okay, so now what do we have here?
that's right.
Yeah, if you don't have that consistency that
Yeah,
every time they go to bed at this time, every time they eat at this time, then you're going to be up sometimes at 10 and sometimes at 1 because your kids are screaming, they're running amok, they're having too much fun, you know, and you're going to be tired. And it
yeah.
happens, in your business, in your life as well. And I absolutely love that. So, Alex, what does the future hold for you? We were talking in the green room about the fact that, and I love that you're investing in the product that you're selling, which is homes. And, we don't have to talk about your investment strategies, but I know that that has a play in what the future holds for you. So give us a little bit of vision of what's up for you, what's happening for you coming up.
Yeah, so definitely believe in the product that we sell, right? I own quite a bit of real estate, and I'm always a buyer, and in fact, it's one of the value adds I can give to a local real estate agent is I am a buyer, and
Yeah.
in any market, no matter what, call me because I invest, right? And they bring good deals, and I pay the commission, and we all win on it. So, but the vision for me is, obviously to do that, to invest, you must have capital, you must have money to do it. So I've never been the person to skip a step. The way I learn is I learn from the very beginning, from the very basics, and then I like to work my way through the process. I don't go from rookie originator to regional manager. That's just not my personality. I feel like there's a lot, you must pay your dues. You must develop certain skills to get there. So I think the vision, the future for me is, after originating for so long as an individual loan officer, building a team, building multiple branches, I finally felt the calling to lead other leaders, right?
Mhm.
And so I think the industry has changed in a way where you are no longer a manager. There's no such thing as like manage what? What are you managing? All of these loan officers are self-sufficient, they're autonomous. They don't necessarily need a manager. And you see it happening in in companies right now. Regionals are being laid off. Managers are being terminated, and it's going more to just owner and sales staff essentially, and not a lot in between. So the company I work for right now, they were already like that. It was the owners in relationship with one regional. That's it. And the regional is more of a leader, and they develop and they build. They don't manage. It's like they're assembling the team. So it seemed like a very interesting way to structure a company, and appealing to me because I've always had this vision of being like the Harvard of the mortgage industry, meaning that people will seek us out to be trained, to learn how to originate, to learn how to sell, and to do it properly. You can't invest in thousands of people and be in relationship with thousands of people. So that's not my vision. My vision is to be in a relationship with 30 leaders. And those 30 leaders, let's just say in the great state of Texas, produce 30 million a year, or we get them to 30 million a year. And now you have $1 billion territory essentially. And you just grow that 10% year over year over time. And it's a great living, and you're influencing and you're impacting people's lives, and you teach them how to invest their money. You teach them how to invest in real estate. And the ripple effect you have on these 30 families or these 30 lives will be much greater than, maybe touching, thousands of lives. I don't know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's kind of my vision is, instead of, like coaching, I think you coach, Lady Jen, instead of doing that, I just want intimate relationships with these people, to mentor them like people mentored me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. And I call myself a mentor. I don't call myself a coach for that very reason, because it's the path, right? I've been down the path and I don't coach just loan officers and realtors. I coach business owners, but I've been down that path of, I call it working in and on your business. It's so that, and we want to stop that. We want you to stop working in and on your business so that you can live above and beyond your business. And and I like that you're saying, about leadership. I think there's still a management aspect of it because there is a process and procedure that has to happen. There's some tasks that need to be done, but it is really elevating yourselves up and having teams so that you can do what you do best instead of being in the minutia of the in and on and the in and on. And gosh, and I remember, I was doing $120 million a year, me and my team. We're doing $120 million a year. And a manager called me and said that he needs to know when I go to lunch. I had already originated $1.5 million in revenue for the company through May. And as of June, I left the company because
Yeah.
I said, that's ridiculous. Now you're managing me instead of leading me to be
Right.
bigger growth. And you just lost $1.5 million in revenue.
Yeah.
But well, for the whole year, it would have been probably $3
Yeah.
million in revenue.
Exactly.
I mean, it's so short-sighted, right? So I think there's a place for management as you're bringing new people on and teaching them. But yeah, the goal is to ultimately get to leadership where people manage themselves or self-managing or self-leading. I think that's great. I think that's wonderful what you're doing. So as we leave our time today, do you have a quote or a mantra or a book that changed your life or that you would like to share with everyone and say, look, if I could tell you one thing, this is what I want to tell you today?
Yeah. My financial advisor gave me The Go-Giver probably
Yep.
about 2 or 3 years ago. Simple read. It's a very simple book.
Yeah.
But he said, this book reminds me of you. Read it and let me know what you think. And I loved it. It was a lot. I'm aligned a lot with the lessons in the book, but lesson 5 is the one that I really needed. So I don't want to spoil it for you, but read the book. Lesson 5 is the most important lesson, and it really changed my heart, and how I serve people and how I now allow people to serve me as well, which has been very difficult to let others provide for you,
Yeah.
which was not natural for me. So
Yeah,
it's a great book.
yeah. Well, we'll give away lesson 5. It's okay. Yeah, lesson 5 is be able to be able to receive. And for me, that was a big challenge because people would say, "Is everything, do you need anything?" And I wanted to look really good, and so I was like, "No, no, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay."
Yes.
And I think that's the worst thing anyone can do in business. And I find it all the time. I was on the phone last night with Larry Namer, and if you don't know who he is, he's the co-founder or the founder of E Entertainment. Okay, he's been a dear friend of mine for years. And I was on the phone getting some counsel from him last night on something. And I said, "Well, Larry, what can I do for you?" And he goes, "No, I'm good. I'm good." And I go, "No, what can I do for you? There's something I can help you with. I can't go out and find sponsors for your new TV show, and I can't do those things. But what can I do for you?"
Yeah.
And he finally broke down and gave me something that I could do for him. Like he finally opened his heart to receive. It's huge. It's
Yes.
huge.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Well said.
that's
Yeah, well said.
awesome. Yeah, yeah. So open your heart to receive just as much as you're trying to give. And by the way, Giver's Gain is another book that we all love, right? But this is how givers gain is they have to be open to receive and they have to ask sometimes, right? Sometimes
Yeah.
we have to go, "Ooh, ooh, ooh, should I ask?" Yes, let me ask. Well, since I'm helping you, or thank you so much for sharing what you need, I would love to share what I need. It's okay.
Yes.
People want to help. People don't want to do favors.
That's true. That's
Can I
true.
ask
It's a
you a
big
favor?
difference.
They're like, eh. But if they say, "Hey, could I get your help?" They're open for giving
Yes.
help all the time. Everybody is. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Alex, congratulations on all of your
Thank you.
success. I wish you and bless you with continued success throughout your career and what you're wanting to achieve in this world. And I just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being a guest on our show.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. And thank you for listening today. I know that you're taking time out of your busy day, riding your bike, working out. I hear people working out. I hear some people say, one person sent me a text saying, "Hey, I do this when I take my kids to the park because all the screaming that happens at the park." I'm just going, "Yes, I love you," but I'm listening to the podcast while I'm at the park. So thank you for all of those comments and great shares. And as a reminder, head on over to YouTube to my channel. We have the link below and subscribe. Not only do we have this podcast, but we also have Business on the Vine, where we talk to business owners about everything. We heard it through the grapevine, right? Business on the Vine and all kinds of tutorials over there where I'm sharing my content and my thoughts and my help for you. So again, thank you so much for listening today. We'll catch you on the next episode of Mortgage Lending Mastery. I'm Lady Jen Du Plessis. We'll see you then.
Thanks for listening to Mortgage Lending Mastery. Be sure to subscribe to hear more sales tips, ideas, strategies, and tactics to help you with your personal and professional growth to multiply your results in record time. And if you like what we're doing, don't forget to give us a rating and review so we can continue to bring you the best content possible. Wanting more beyond the podcast? Join our Mortgage Lending Mastery membership community, where you will find extended interviews with our favorite guests, weekly training, tips, and insider secrets, fireside chats with Jen, free content, meet, share, and collaborate with other members, and so much more. Click the link in the show notes to learn more about this exclusive content. Mortgage Lending Mastery is an Industry Syndicate charter podcast. Industry Syndicate is the first podcast network specifically for the mortgage and real estate industries. Get the Industry Syndicate app in the App Store or Google Play today.